Okay, guys, we're picking up where we left off pretty much. Silicon Forest stories. You may remember Glenn Stockton, Global Matrix. Here's some art of his that I've saved out for show and tell purposes. Mainly, the hexapen theme is going to always be important on this channel. By hexapen, I mean something like hexagons are the bestagons, right? That didn't show up very quickly. Let's try that again. Telegram, where are you? See, I have Urbit running. Here we go. So hexagons are the bestagons, right? You've seen that one before. And that's sort of the realm we're in geometrically. But then just where are we with respect to, say, Python? Some of you come here for the Python. Another show and tell item from the Subgenius organization with which I am affiliated. I get current news. The Dobbstown Mirror. Much appreciated. Thank you. And a Kurt Vonnegut candle. Kurt Vonnegut candle. And a copper hub or node or heart, different ways to call it, a C60 hub or ball, which would be part of a larger lattice or matrix. If you go back in the channel, you will find an entire museum slash gallery in downtown Portland opened up a pop-up gallery in support of that concept. So going down into EduSig at the Python website, this is where you can find me contributing to the archives quite a bit. So I'm going to go down through the mailing list. So where's the mailing list? Okay, this is just all the special interest groups. So I'm looking for EduSig in particular. Let's see. Can I find it this way? EduSig. I thought I was going to start on the EduSig page, but never mind. And by the way, I want to get back to, here we go, Doug Strain and the Silicon Forest story about he's being a conscientious objector during World War II. What did that entail? What did that involve? He got to be a guinea pig where the army was trying to figure out the diet you have to give someone in freezing cold conditions and yet they stay alive, right? Like, where can we cut corners? How can we streamline this whole process? So let's get some conscientious objectors together and put them in like refrigerator rooms and see what goes on, right? Metabolize this, metabolize that, change the temperature, control group. I wasn't there, I don't know exactly. Anyway, Doug's teacher at Caltech was Linus Pauling. And this electroscientific instruments that I was showing you on Stark Street, and I acted like I couldn't blow it up or make it bigger. But anyway, that picture, I think this is pretty close to it. That was just, for a short period, their factory. And then they moved to Macadam. And there was a huge fire there the night of the fireman's ball, so there was no one around to put it out. I think they moved back here briefly, and now they're still existing, I think. ESI is a really big company. And they moved out to be with Tektronix and a bunch of others. Greater Portland expanded out towards the west to create its high-tech sort of factory space, Intel, all the companies out there, right? Hillsboro, Aloha, all that. So Portland's a high-tech area, and that's why we call it the Silicon Forest as opposed to, say, the Silicon Valley, which is like San Jose, the Bay Area, California, right? This is Oregon, so we're quite a bit north and far enough north that we don't think of ourselves as just an extension of the Silicon Valley. We are the Silicon Forest, which is similar but different, okay? So what I wanted to point to today here in continuing our story is, how I would talk to an 11th grader. And I pinned this answer on Quora. And he's asking, or she's asking, I don't know the gender of this person, but I'm in 11th grade and want to learn programming as a potential career prospect. I have some experience in Python and HTML. What would you suggest I do moving forward? And this is where we're going to get to that EduSig special interest group. I say what I tend to advise is leverage your growing knowledge of Python to go over whatever you're learning right now in math class. Learn it all again using Python. And then I have a link here into one of my Jupyter notebooks that takes me away from Quora. So they ask, do I really want to go there? Actually, no, this takes me to EduSig, where I was just about to go. In that, I'm celebrating that Free Code Camp is also linking to a algebra with Python course. In other words, high school math or college math, whatever, we're doing math with Python together. That one's not one of mine. I'm just saying I'm in this same space, whether it's mine or not mine. There's a bunch of teachers who work in this space. And so I direct people to some of my writings on this sometimes, but here's where I'm recasting high school mathematics in a Pythonic flavor using little computer programs, Jupyter notebooks. We get into ray tracing and so on, right? You've seen me do videos about this a lot, or if you haven't, that's what you'll find as you go back in this channel is a lot of recasting of high school in the 21st century using newer tools, right? We're not stuck with graphing calculators. We're using Python and Jupyter notebooks as our calculator, right? And I've got some embedded YouTubes. There's a ViHeart one, which you can see on NBViewer. You won't see these if you go to the source code on GitHub. But of course, we have graphing because we have pandas, we have NumPy, but we're also learning a very elegant, I think, implementation of the object-oriented model. Now, if you're into purely functional programming, that's fine too. You can move from Python to other places. It's not like I'm trying to make you pitch your tent here forever. I'm fine if you're just passing through. You're a tourist. You really want to learn Clojure, or you've got other languages, but you're also interested in learning math and computer stuff at the same time. You've seen that there's an economy of doing that, right? So that's what I'm hoping to show. And so that's kind of what the Silicon Forest agenda is. And then at the same time, around the edges, I'm bringing in the unit volume tetrahedron stuff, for which we are known as a kind of a trademark set of memes that has to do with the Bucky Fuller legacy, which we don't bleep over, but repackage instead as something called Martian math, but that's dispensable. That's heuristics you can take or leave. I've got an Elite Academy version that doesn't really talk about Martian math all that much, right? But then it puts just one notebook about it in sort of a normal everyday high school curriculum. You kind of get a little bit of exposure to what most all schools just bleep over entirely, which is a look into what one of our great futurists gave us, which was kind of a different way of looking, right? An interesting set of memes. So in my school, we don't bleep over it. We go into it. And I use that for a marketing edge, and I associate it with Quakers. And there's already lots of tools out there. In other words, you say, well, why risk going fringe? Why not just do straight STEM? You've got a great idea there already with the Python math. Why would you jeopardize it by going with this sort of fringy stuff? And if you've seen my videos, I consider this really mainstream, actually. What I'm sharing is just a little ahead of its time, is how we say, right? It's like this is cutting edge and all that. So I'm not taking a risk here. I'm trying to stay current. You're staying current maybe, but you also might be taking a huge risk in not, getting on board with at least a little bit of this newfangled 4D tetrahedron whatever stuff, right? Don't be too complacent. My advice. Talk to you soon.